In the last episode, you said that the Israeli ambassador neither denied nor accepted Hindu genocide in Kashmir. How can he do that when the Indian government itself hasn't recognized the genocide till date? Isn't this how diplomacy works? Imagine if he had said that the genocide was true, and even the government of India would have gone against him. Holocaust is well recognized in the world and is obviously in Israel. What are my thoughts? Well, you are right, sir. So I do not expect the ambassador of Israel to go ahead and assert that a genocide happened in Kashmir or and so on and so forth. It's not his business to do that. Nobody has asked him to do that. Yeah, but he should not support a claim that the Kashmir files is propaganda. Yeah, so he kind of called out that individual Nadav Lapid on that, but he did not refute Nadav Lapid's claim that the movie is propaganda. So yeah, that so he the entire tweet thread that he put out was very diplomatic. Yeah, and it kind of refused to take a stand and kind of did not support India in a variety of ways, which I spoke about in detail yesterday. You can take a look at that. But your larger point is absolutely correct. India itself has not recognized the fact that what happened in Kashmir was a genocide. Yes, India itself has not recognized this, and it's a continuation of what something that's happened over 1,000 years. I called it the millennium of humiliation. Right? India has suffered the worst genocide in human history in the past 1,000 years. I would say at least, I don't know, I think around 500 million or more than that Indians would have died over a period of nearly a millennium. Yeah, which includes the Turkic mediated genocide of India and then the European Christian mediated, essentially British mediated genocide of India. The British killed at least 100 million Indians. At least 100 million Indians in just a few decades. Most likely they killed around 200 million Indians if you sum up, if you add up everything over 2 centuries. And the Turks, the Turkic invaders and occupiers of India over a period of 7 or 8 centuries would have killed, in my opinion, it's a guesstimate, they would have killed around 500 million Indians. I think I'm sure the number doesn't make any sense to you, but if you sit down quietly with your emotions on the side and try to think about it and try to calculate based on actual records, you will see that what I'm saying is very plausible. Yeah. So so the truth is that India has suffered the worst genocide in human history, and the Indian government doesn't recognize this. India's textbooks don't speak about it. India's historians stay far away from this topic. And since India itself hasn't recognized what it went through, why should we expect foreigners, outsiders, to care, to bother? So, what Rahul is saying over here is 100% correct. Why should we expect the Israeli ambassador to recognize the fact of what happened in Kashmir or what happened at any other place in India or any other period of time? It is for us to recognize this first. And I think it's because of political expediency that this has never been this that the politicians and the governments have always steered clear of this matter. Very sensitive issue, they call it. It will create communal tensions and all. I don't understand why it should create communal tensions. We're not talking about people today who did anything. The people, the citizens of India who live in India today have nothing to do with what happened over the past 1,000 years. They are the what they say is that it will create communal tensions between Hindus and Muslims because in some way you are accusing Muslims of doing something. Excuse me. Today's Muslims have nothing to do with what happened in the past 1,000 years. Today's Indian Muslims are in no way responsible whatsoever for what happened in the past 1,000 years. The people, the individuals, the foreign occupiers and oppressors who conducted the genocide have nothing to do with India's Muslims. So that's the deal. But India itself refuses to recognize the fact. See, India is a very strange society. India's society suffers from two conditions, two psychological conditions. First, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. India society collectively suffers from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. India society is it has all these pathologies and problems, social problems, societal problems, all these tensions and divides within the society. And these are all the consequence of the oppression that we have suffered over the past 1000 years. India society has been distorted. All kinds of evil has crept in from outside. And that is a consequence of the past 1000 years of foreign occupation and the total destruction of India's society and culture and the way society had evolved over thousands of years to operate. Yeah. So that is PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. We are now no longer under foreign occupation, more or less, and yet we are suffering from the consequences. That's PTSD. So India's society suffers from PTSD. And the second thing India society suffers from is amnesia, no memory of what happened. Why? Because our history textbooks and our history teachers will not teach us what really happened. So today's kids grow up knowing nothing, and they see all these problems in society, so they blame themselves. They blame themselves and they blame their ancestors. That it's all because of our own fault. That's the problem. And who will resolve this? The Indian government, whom we elect and to whom we pay taxes. It's their duty, it's their job to do this, and they are not doing it. Since 2014, people have been saying that now it's time to do it, but no, they refuse to do it. So that is extremely disappointing. So what Rahul says is correct. Why should we expect foreigners who have nothing to do with us? Why should we expect them to recognize what happened in India? We have to recognize it first. Our government should do it first, and it's not done yet. So yeah, correct, absolutely correct.